What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters. Welcome to Life to Metal. Gonna be doing a rock metal update. That's right, time for yet another rock metal update. This will be all 7-inch videos. It'll be all 7-inch vinyl, and it will be all thrash metal, a little bit of death metal, new wave of British heavy metal, and just straight up heavy metal. So there's no classic 70s heavy metal stuff in here, or hard rock. I'm going to say that for another video all by itself. I'm going to get right into it as well. Playing in the background is the nolifetilmetal Records comp. This right here being, if you can hear it, is Avenger of Blood from their completely re-annihilated album coming out on vinyl and CD. Commercial. Shameless plug. Alright, first up, Anthrax. Just one that I was missing from my collection. One of these days I'll do an Anthrax 7-inch collection. Probably, these guys got to have at least 15, 20 singles out, and I have most of them. But then there's also like some rare like promo singles, stuff like that. Got a few, not all of them, but regardless, this is one that I was missing. Don't know how I missed out on it, considering it's one of my favorite bands, and I buy all their stuff brand new. But this is the Fight 'Em Till You Can't, B-side The Devil You Know, from the Worship Music album from 2011. And it's on a blue vinyl. I mean, colored vinyl is nothing special these days when everything is a different color vinyl. But just, I don't know how I missed this one, but there you go. Translucent blue. Almost a cyan color. But love Anthrax. I have since they were a local band growing up in the 80s. They were, you know, they're from New York. I lived in New Jersey. I used to go see shows. I saw them at the L'Amour. So I've just always had a special place for this band because I love them. I love their music, love their sound. Anthrax, Fight 'Em Till You Can't. Next up, let's see. There's some. Let's stick with the big four bands because I do have some. Let's see, a few singles from Megadeth in here. Yeah. All right. This is the an upgrade pressing of Anarchy in the UK, backed with Liar, from the third Megadeth album. Nothing on the back. It's None More Block. Very Spinal Tap-ish. But as a Capitol Records release, this thing was not released in the US as far as I know. This pressing here is from, see, EMI Records. I think this is a UK pressing, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure there even was a single for that in the United States. But regardless, great to have this one finally in the collection, as well as Skin in My Teeth, backed with what is on the B-side? I can't remember anymore. This is actually, there's a bunch of singles that came around this time, and they came with like all these different parts that made a game. And this one does have the giant puzzle, the giant game board in it. It's like a poster. It's huge. I don't want to open up the whole thing, but you can see kind of has a game board inside of it, but I don't have all the singles from that time period yet. Unfortunately, this came out in 1992 or so when I was a bit out of the scene. I was only out for a couple years, but it was around 90 through 93 that I was not buying music, so I missed out on a few things, this being one of them. So Skin in My Teeth, backed with Holy Wars, The Punishment Due, the General Schwarzkopf mix. So, and some people have asked me, do you just collect 7-inch singles or do you listen to them? I do collect them, obviously, but I do listen to them all at least once. So basically I have this pile of records that I show you guys in videos, and I'll play them at least once before I put them back in the box. But I do revisit a lot of 7-inch singles from time to time, so for whatever reason that one doesn't want to go back in the package, I'll deal with it later. Alright, next up, sticking with Megadeth. These two didn't have sleeves, but this is the single for A Secret Place, radio edit, and text radio edit. So this is a radio-only single that came out from Capitol Records. It came in the white sleeve, just as you see it, didn't have a Capitol sleeve. As is this one, is a Symphony of Destruction and Breakpoint. which I think Breakpoint was not on the album, but it did show up on like Hidden Treasures or something like that. But regardless, 2 radio singles from Capitol Records from Megadeth. I thought those were really cool. I had never seen them before, I never owned them before, so nice to have them as part of my collection. Staying into thrash metal, this is Power Trip, one of the many bands that came out during the new wave of thrash metal regime in the early 2000s. I mean, bands like Vector, Vindicator, Havoc, Fueled by Fire. There was so many great bands that came out, thrash metal bands that came out during that period. Power Trip, one of them. Now, Power Trip are from Texas. They're more of a crossover style band. And I think these guys are no more because their vocalist, Riley, don't know what's his last name. Riley Gale died in 2021, I believe it was, unfortunately from a fentanyl overdose. They said it was an accidental overdose. I don't know how that happened, but regardless, he passed away. So, but this is a flexi single, 1 song for Hornet's Nest with a nice hype sticker on it. So cool to have. Grabbed it before they're gone. You can get these on eBay, fairly inexpensive, but they're not going to be around much longer, so I grabbed them before they're gone. Sticking with the new wave of thrash metal, this is Fueled by Fire. This is like a 2021 single. Brand new music. These guys are out there touring and playing shows again. Here's the back. 2 songs, Disrupt and Bloodshed. And this is the exact hammer to the brain style of, you know, machine gun riffing thrash metal that, you know, you expect from these guys. Very, very good. I don't know if they all came with. Mine came with a sticker. I assume they all do. I don't know. Mine will stay in there forever because it came with the record. So, as well, I think this one came out maybe the year before or the year after. I can't remember what year. Is there a year on the back somewhere? No, this is the year after. So 2022. This one came out. This is the second Fueled by Fire 7-inch single. Mangled Truth and Non-Existent. This one came with a patch. And I'm going to assume that the patch came with all of them, not just the one I bought. So, really cool. Fueled by Fire, thrash metal. This one's black vinyl, the other one's white vinyl. So, black and white singles, followed up from different years, which is nice. These guys are touring. They're actually playing in my town not too long from now, so I'm hoping I get to check them out. I've seen them in the past. My band Ultimatum played a couple shows with them back in the day in the 2000s as well. So, Fueled by Fire. This is an early 90s thrash metal band called Berserker. And they didn't release much, but what they did release I really enjoy. This is one of their 2 singles. This one's from, see if this year's on here somewhere. I'm thinking like 91, 92 in that area. I don't see the year on here anywhere. See if it's on this. And it's not on the label either. So, I don't know. Anyhow, in the early 90s. But I enjoyed this stuff, but they didn't release a whole lot. A couple of singles. Here's one of them. Exchange Records out of Quincy, Massachusetts. Yeah, produced by Ducky Carlisle and Berserker. It's weird to have copyrights all over this thing, but no year. So Berserker 1. Oh, the tracks. Taking the Law and It Never Ends. Again, just great thrash metal, as well as their other single. This has got Inseparable and Walking Dead. This one is 1991. So I'm thinking that one might be 92. This is 91. This was on a green vinyl. Cool stuff. You can find it. I mean, it's kind of obscure. It's on, you know, it's an independent label, but if you can find a, you know, copy, it's worth checking out if you're into, you know, just that old school thrash metal. And these guys have obviously preceded the whole new wave of thrash metal. So kind of unfortunate that they didn't produce a whole lot, but what they did produce, I really enjoy. And let's see, any more thrash metal? Yes, a couple more thrash metal releases. So another one of those newer bands. This is Gamma Bomb. Another one of those crossover bands. I do have a couple singles from these guys, but this is just one that's been floating around that I've been keeping an eye on until I found a decent price copy, and I ended up buying it in bulk with a bunch of other singles I bought from somebody. But this is Give Me Leather and Return to Easter Rising. And then we're moving on to some death metal, old school death metal. This is a split, Master and Disastrous Murmur. I love Master. They're just great old school death metal, and I love. I mean, I'm not the biggest death metal fan in the world. I do like it, especially the old school stuff. But I just haven't followed a lot of the newer bands, so I still follow a lot of the older bands. But Just one of the ones I was missing in my collection. I think I now have 3 master 7-inch singles now. But this is Dislocation, and the B-side is Necrotic Ulcerous Genoplast. Gotta love the titles. I also like the fact that you can read the logos. Alright, now we're going to get into some new wave of British heavy metal stuff. Let's see, quite a few of these are there. This whole stack here is new wave of British heavy metal, so I'm going to kind of go through them quickly. It's an early 3-track EP from Tigers of Pantang. Not their first single, but one of their early singles. I think this is probably 1980, maybe even 1979. See if there's a year on here or not. MCA Records. Their first EP was, it's 1980. Their first EP was 79 and was released independently. I have that one as well, so nice to have this one, just one I was missing from the collection. Excuse me. Excuse my voice. I'm dealing with I don't know, allergies or cold or something. Anyhow, Rock and Roll Man, Alright on the Night, and Wildcats. And I really love the early Tiger stuff because it was very much the new wave of British heavy metal sound. So there's a difference between the new wave of British heavy metal movement, which produced a ton of different bands and different styles from Venom to Def Leppard. But there was a sound a lot of the bands had, and it was kind of like, it had like almost a punky feel. Girl School had that feel, and Tank had that feel. Early Tigers of Pantang had that feel. Motorhead had that feel. And Motorhead, I mean, they were around, they were a new wave of British heavy metal band too. UK band, you know, first album came out in, what, 78? So, I mean, that just, they were part of that whole movement. So, but yeah, it kind of has that punky edge to it, which I really enjoy. This is probably 81 or so. Just another one from Tigers of Pantang. I'm pretty sure I have all their singles now from the 80s. So, I've been collecting them for a while and finally think I have them all. But this is Euthanasia. Back with Straight as Die. Straight as a Die. And one more. This is Don't Stop. And it's got a live track called Slave to Freedom. Again, on the MCA label. See if I can see the year on this. I'm thinking this one's 83. Nope, I'm wrong. 81. This one's from 81. So, I've been having some discussions with Aaron, the Metal Theologian, about new wave of British heavy metal. If you don't know Aaron, check out his channel, Metal Theologian. I'll try and remember to leave a link below. But he kind of thinks that the new wave of heavy metal, the sound kind of died around 1983, and he's got his reasons for it. But the movement, I don't really think it did. I think I kind of define it more from like 78, 79 through about 1985, where these just this flood and rush of hard rock and heavy metal bands were coming out of the, you know, the British area, so the British Isle. So it's such a lot of great stuff. All right, next up, this is one that a lot of people know, and this is Witchfind. I don't know how I missed out on this band. I was so into the new wave of British heavy metal, you know, in the 80s growing up, and somehow I just missed out on this band. But the look is very much in the style of Venom, so you're thinking, oh, that's got to be, you know, really heavy stuff. It's really not. It's more as traditional heavy metal, a bit melodic, big hooks. I really like this band and this sound. So, but yeah, it is a very dark imagery on this being their first single. I think this was singles from 1979. This band, there's 2 versions of this single. This is one that I used to have, but the version I had was different than this one. Didn't have this big thing on here, which is it is printed on there. It's not a sticker. But I think the original I had back in the 80s only had 2 songs on it. This one's got 4 songs on it. So it's got Oh Baby, Zero, Hold On, and Lone Wolf. I don't know the whole story, but Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden sang on one of these songs. From what I understand, this was it was like a management thing, and I don't know the whole story. The band didn't agree, but I mean it kind of boosted their popularity, and this popularity of the single having something with Bruce Dickinson on it. At the same time, it's, you know, I can understand why the band wouldn't want you know, a big name player being one of the reasons that their single sold. They wanted to sell on their own merits. So regardless, just very melodic, especially the song Oh Baby and Hold On. They're more of the almost like an AOR type sound. But that new wave British heavy metal sound, it was all over the place. I mean, you had more melodic stuff. You had stuff that was more, you know, groove bass stuff like Vardis, which was more of a, you know, along the lines like maybe even a Fog Hat, that boogie rock. So there was all kinds of stuff going on in the new wave British heavy metal movement. These guys are more melodic. Kind of dig this single though, and I like the Maiden track. I like the Bruce Dickinson track as well. Although he doesn't really sound so much like, you know, you think of him. I had to actually listen to it closely to recognize Bruce's voice. Excuse me, my voice is shot. So, all right, another new wave British heavy metal single. This is in the just a white sleeve. That's how it came originally. Fugitive, pretty typical of the stuff coming out then. Not super heavy. I do kind of dig it though. This is. Need My Freedom on the A side, and Don't Tell Me I'm Crazy on the B side. And as I recall, I haven't played this one in a few days now. I really like the B side better than the A side, but that happens a lot. For some reason, the A side is always like the more poppy song or the commercial song, and the B side is always the heavier track. And that was especially true in a lot of new wave of British heavy metal singles. But band called Fugitive, and this one's not real expensive. It's hard to find in the United States, but you can find these. From what I understand from some of my friends in the UK, they pop up all the time out there, so it's not real expensive. 1980, 81, somewhere in that area. I can't really see the year on this thing. It's a little type right there, so maybe you can see it. But I think it's around 80, 81. Speaking of artists, just one of the artist singles that I was missing. Trying to get all their singles. I was missing a few, this being one of them. All You Ever Need, backed with If I Were King, and a cover of Jumpin' Jack Flash, Rolling Stones. But again, Vardis, I wouldn't, by today's standards, most people wouldn't call them a heavy metal band. You know, in the 80s, we considered them a heavy metal band. But again, they're more of a boogie rock style band, you know. I mean, not that far off from like a Fog Hat, you know, some of the heavier Fog Hat material. So, but I dig this band, I dig this album, I dig this single. So, Vardis, All You'll Ever Need. One of the more popular bands. This is Saxon. These guys got so many singles out, man. You could be collecting Saxon singles until you turn blue in the face. And I've got a ton of Saxon singles, but I just didn't have this one. This is just the Wheels of Steel pressing on the Career label with Stand Up and Be Counted from this Wheels of Steel album, which would have been what, 1980 or was it 81? 1980. So a lot of these, like I said, are as Aaron states, from the early 80s, before the sound really started changing with, but I mean, again, if you're going to say new wave of British heavy metal was a sound, would that exclude bands like Venom and Raven, who didn't really fit into that sound? They're way, way heavier. Or even like a Def Leppard, or later Tigers of Pantang, where they're more melodic. Hard to say. So this band sort of got popular and got a big major label deal, like a lot of the bands did. MCA Records, this is Quartz. This would have been, what, 79? 80. I was off by a year. So this is Stoking Up the Fires of Hell, backed with the Circles. Next one is, there's 3 singles. This is another one of those bands I'm just trying to get all their singles. And I've loved this band forever, but this is Girl School, Rock and Roll, 1, 2, 3, 4, Rock and Roll. I actually have the 12-inch single. The 7-inch single is much harder to come by. I actually bought the 12-inch single twice, because I bought it one time thinking I was buying the 7-inch single. So I ended up giving that to a friend. But regardless, cool album with, I think this one's got 3 tracks on it, including a cover of Tush from ZZ Top. Don't Call It Love. And I think actually the main song in here is a cover too, and it's been covered by more than one band, even more than one new wave British heavy metal band. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, Rock and Roll was covered by, slipping my head, another band. I'm sure one of you guys knows, but it was recorded by another band as well. But I like both versions of it. I like Girl School's version, and I like the other version as well. And if I can get this in here, it'd be awesome. Gotta work. Alright, next up, Girl School. This is 83, so this is getting towards their more commercial period. Burning in the Heat is definitely a more commercial track. They were looking for success. I mean, by 83, a lot of the bands were hugely successful. Maiden became an arena band by that point. It was touring around the world with Judas Priest. Def Leppard were huge. A lot of those bands were. Saxon were gaining ground. Raven were gaining ground. So they were just looking for a more commercial sound. That's what they had with this one. So it's Burning in the Heat, backed with Surrender. I think it's 83, out in 1983, off the Play Dirty album. And then this is an odd one. I never even knew this one existed until recently. Girl School and Gary Glitter, Meter number 1. Gary Glitter was an interesting character. Never really got into his music. I think he's still in jail for, I don't know, some sort of sexual stuff that I don't want to talk about. But he did sing on this thing, and you can see a picture of the band in the back with Gary. And the tracks, I'm the leader of the gang, I am, and Never Too Late. I kind of like the tracks, but regardless, just an odd single. This is on the GWR label. And that's it for the new wave of British heavy metal stuff. So the rest of what I have here is just straight up heavy metal, and I'm 21 minutes in, so I need to scream through these things. All right, so we got Anvil, Forged in Fire. This was a flexi disc that was released in Kerrang! Magazine. I had the magazine and the single back in the day. Just been trying to find a good copy of the single ever since that plays clean. This one is super clean. So I still got to find the magazine, but I have the single, so there you go. These next two are super rare. Nobody really knows this band all that well. I love this band, but this is a U.S. band called Philadelphia. They put out 3 albums. They were a mid-'80s, early '80s to mid-'80s band. And the label put out 3 different promotional singles for Philadelphia, and I've got 2 of the 3. But this is Oh My Boy, same song, both sides. Like I said, radio promo single. And then No Compromise. And this was from 85, I believe, from the Tell the Truth album. So that would have been their first album. And was this one from the second album? Let's see here. I can't remember for the life of me. This is 86, so yeah, it's from their second album. These things just don't show up. I think Rock's Records, if you go to rocksrecords.com, I think he's got a copy of one of these albums on there for sale. But I doubt it's cheap because, like I said, they don't show up. The cheapest I've ever seen them for is like $25 plus shipping. So I lucked into those for very good prices. Halloween, Detroit's heavy metal horror show, Trick or Treat. This is a repressing of their early single that I missed out on, unfortunately. So I think this original single came out in 1984, maybe 83, 84, 85, somewhere in that area, probably 84. But anyhow, back in around 2018, 19 or so, this was re-released with this cover, back cover, and I missed out on it, so I added it to my want list and kind of just kept keeping an eye on eBay for it, or Discogs. Finally found a copy on eBay that I bid on. Nobody else did, so got it for a good price. Excuse me. Trick or Treat on the side A, and She's a Teaser on side B. Just straight up U.S. heavy metal. German metal. Accept. Always looking for stuff from this band. I love Accept. Of course, this is the more recent release on Nuclear Blast Records with... so we got The Undertaker and Life's a Bitch. See, I think Life's a Bitch, if I'm not mistaken, was recorded. So I think it's a live version of Life's a Bitch on here. See, it's a 2020 single released on Nuclear Blast. Red vinyl. And of course, if this is not Udo, this is former TT Quick singer. Man, I'm just having a hard time speaking. My voice is shot. Do I sound sexy? Do I sound like Barry White? No, I don't. Cool single, nonetheless. The one I missed out on was only released through Nuclear Blast in Germany, so that not a lot of them show up here, so I was glad to finally find a copy. Speaking of Germany, this is an original pressing of Halloween Dr. Stein, backed with Savage, and this is a German pressing, an original one from 1988. I should look up these years before and put stickers. I've said it a million times, I just never think to do it. Yep, 88. I was right. Right on. 1988. Why is it that I can remember the year on records releases, but I can't remember someone's name I met yesterday? Quiet Riot. Quiet Riot, Silent Lucidity. Queensryche, Silent Lucidity. This is a UK pressing, and 1991 or so. Their huge ballad hit. I'm not a big fan of Queensryche after the first three, the EP and the first two albums after that, but I do like some of their tracks. And this has got I Don't Believe in You on the B-side. And I do like Silent City. It's a really well done song, ballad or not. So, nice find. Includes I Don't Believe from Operation Live Crime. A little doom. Spirit Caravan. This is just 2 tracks on white vinyl. And I actually somehow managed to come across 2 of these really well priced, in great condition. And one of them is going to be shipping to my buddy Trog, who is also a fan of this band. Let's see, 2002 this came out originally. Toledo Records. There's the back side of it. So, yeah, just traditional, classic doom from Spirit Caravan. Alright. If I can get this back into sleep, that'd be great. Alright, next up, some more Doom. Year of the Cobra. I showed this in a VCLT video, but I want to show it again because I didn't know much about him when I showed this song. Showed the single back in that video. But again, very doomy, bit on the stoner rock side, but I'd say more doom than stoner. And it's on a blue vinyl. Oh, I'm sorry, black. I thought it was blue. I don't know why I thought it was blue. Black vinyl. Prophecy Records. But you've got, let's see here, The Black Sun. That's dark and doomy. And Into the Fray on the A side. And this copy happens to be autographed. And was given to me by my good friend Steve Bodine, a.k.a. Harmless Rebel. Dokken, this one floats around all the time. I just finally grabbed a copy of it. I've seen it passed up numerous times because I had like stacks of stuff in my hand, and I'm like, all right, I got to put something back. So this is one that just seems to come around a lot, so I kept putting it back, and finally I'm like, I need to grab it before they're gone. That seems to be what happens when you finally want it, they're gone. But in any case, this is on Elektra Records from 1980. I don't know the year on this one. I'd totally be guessing. I don't know. I can't see the year. I think it's probably 86. But you may be able to correct me on that if I'm wrong. Maybe it's on the sleeve. So, Burning Like a Flame, back with Lost Behind the Wall, and 87. I was off by a year. So, I like Dokken. I've met all these guys at least once in my lifetime, which is cool. I met Wild McBrown a couple times. He was always really nice and very funny. So, very cool. Dokken. Promo single for Keel. This is obviously more of their commercial stuff. They started off as a heavier band. By this point, they were getting a bit more commercial. Anyhow, this is a promo single. Same song, both sides, for Tears of Fire. Very cool that it comes in a picture sleeve, though. I have the regular version of this, which actually has 2 songs on it, but it's just in a generic MCA sleeve. And let's see, I got 2 more to go. This is going to be a long video, sorry. Kicks, Get It While It's Hot. Atlantic Records. 1988, 89, somewhere in that area. And the B-side track is Don't Close Your Eyes is the main track. No, Don't Close Your Eyes is the B-side track. Get It While It's Hot is the A-side. And finally, this is it's I don't know. I've never seen this as a standalone single. The little thing on here says. Special limited edition disc with etched message from Blackie, part of the limited edition CD Chainsaw Collector's Pack. Well, I don't have that CDs, but I do have this single. And it is etched, as it says, on the B side. So there's no label. Everything is kind of like, I'm not even sure if I can get a good glare so you can see it. But there's the etching is in the dead wax on the B side. And I can't read it. Something about Charlie. Welcome to the Morgue, Blackie Lawless, and he scratches his autograph in there. Of course, obviously he didn't scratch it into this copy. He scratched it into one, or he wrote it into one and then they had it pressed in. But still a cool single. Anything Wasp is welcome in my collection, and this is just one I didn't have. I picked this up from a seller in the UK I do quite a bit of buying from. If you're interested in its vinyl tap, and the information's right there, pause the video and grab it. Because they do have a lot of great singles at a good price, and their shipping is not outrageous either. My problem with buying from a lot of UK sellers is they want to charge $30 for shipping for a $5 record, and I just can't do it. But this guy's shipping is much more acceptable. Just put it that way. So anyhow, that's it. Appreciate y'all watching. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like. If I said something stupid, which I do sometimes, let me know. That's it. God bless. Stay strong.